Radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network.
All right. Good evening. How you doing? It's Fade to Black. Yeah, it is Monday, October 20th, 2025. Let's do this, man. Yeah, I'm your host, Jimmy Church, kicking off another week here on Fade to Black tonight. Les Velez is back with us, talking about E.T. abduction tonight. We're going to be talking about UFOs all night long. Very excited about this, some 3-Eye Atlas for sure. And tomorrow night, Trey Hudson is back. He's got a new documentary out. It's called Helm and Lens, and the Meadow Project also. That documentary, all of this is launching. Tomorrow night, Trey Hudson joins us. Wednesday night, John Carruth is here. What is a poltergeist? Just in time for Halloween. What else is just in time for Halloween? Thursday. Yeah, we're off air, because I am going to a Halloween party with some friends. Yeah, I kind of let the cat out of the bag tonight. Dead Elvis. I'm going to do Dead Elvis, which means I have to shave my goatee. That Elvis didn't have a goatee. I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm going to do Dead Elvis. Yeah, I'm going to do Dead Elvis. Yeah, I got a couple friends coming over to help me with my makeup. It's going to be a lot of fun. So that is going down Thursday. Yeah, we'll post pictures. Yeah, it's my favorite time of the year. I really enjoy this time of the year, from, you know, my birthday last week, and then that rolls into Halloween, which rolls into Thanksgiving, and then of course Christmas, and then New Year's. Man, it's just a great couple of months right there for me personally. There you go. Last night, well, I woke up this morning. Well, probably like some of you, I would say most of you. I just don't know where all of you live. All right. But woke up this morning and saw the headlines: major worldwide internet outage. I was like, oh, holy crap. What? And I thought, well, it's not that worldwide, because I'm reading about it on my iPhone. I apparently slept through the great internet outage of 2025. And wasn't that interesting? The panic, because the panic is real. Anything goes on with the internet, everything is connected these days. Traffic lights, your food distribution, your wallet, your banking. Yeah, of course, you know, social media, that's a small part of it. Everything else on this planet is internet dependent now. And what would happen if it all just went away? Dark ages. Yeah, dark ages. I have 7 events coming up in 2026 in combination with everything else that I do, which is, of course, Shooting Beyond Belief and this show, Fade to Black. In addition to all of that, coming up in 2026, the Conscious Life Expo. That is February 20th through the 23rd, right here in Los Angeles at the LAX Hilton. Right after that is the Sedona Ascension Retreat, March 20th through the 22nd in Sedona, Arizona. After that, the Contact Modalities Expo, May 1st through the 3rd in Delavan, Wisconsin at Delavan Lake. And then it's Contact in the Desert, May 28th through June 1st, 2026. Tickets on sale coming up this Thanksgiving Day. After that, I go to Peru with Brian Forrester for the Inca Celebration of the Sun. That is a huge event, and it's absolutely amazing. That is June 23rd through July 1st, 2026. After that, I go over to the United Kingdom for the Monty Python Tour of Scotland. That is August 1st through the 9th, 2026. I come back from that and go back to Peru with Brian Forrester, this time to Easter Island. Yeah, very busy 2026. Yep. So when I post those pictures on social media, Les will appreciate that. I work 7 days a week. I get very, very few days off. And my days off now are precious to me, right? Riding my Harley, spending time alone. I love hanging out with people, but I do it so much that actually just not being around people, that is what is precious. So when you see me post pictures going, okay, I'm doing it, think about that. I've got a couple hours off somewhere and I just get to go and do something, because everything else is just a service to the community out there getting stuff done all year long. And I couldn't do it without all of you. It's my life mission. It is my bliss, just like Les Velez. Les, I'm not exactly sure when Les and I first met. I do remember this. I'm going to have to ask Les. He pulled up, man, where were we? He pulled up in like my memory, man, I don't want to embarrass him. Maybe I'm not. He pulled up in like a new Cadillac, right? He pulls up, man, and it was just glowing. He's glowing, gets out, and he's like, Jimmy, Les, all right, cool. And that was the first time that I've met Les. I have followed him because he lives here in California, of course. And he's always been a member of MUFON. And of course, he created OPUS, the Organization for Paranormal Understanding and Support. The other things around Les is he's a graduate of the University of Vermont, Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration. After that, he went to the U.S. Army and got into the civilian life and worked for an engineering firm. But then he joined MUFON in 1991. He did everything: field investigator, training coordinator, assistant state director in Northern California, which is when I met him, chairman of the A.E.R.C, the Abduction Experiencer Research Committee, and the team leader of A.R.T, the Abduction Response Team. So we're going to be talking about all of that tonight and much more. I would like to welcome back to Fade to Black, the one and only Les Velez. Les is right there. Les.
Hey, Jimmy, how are you? Happy birthday.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, we're the same age. So happy birthday to you, Les. Do you remember, do I have that right? Was it like a Cadillac?
Well, and I still have that same Cadillac, so it's like 11 years old now.
So it was brand new when I first met it. It looked new. Yeah.
It was in Sacramento. We met in Sacramento. You were doing some gig there, and I was there. And I definitely remember that. And then you had a little soiree up in your suite, I remember. And we went up there and had a really nice time chatting with people and had a great time.
Yeah, I remember all of that. We had such a good time. And I remember Richard Dolan was there. You. And it's all a fog now when I think about things like that. But that moment that you pulled up in the Cadillac, I never forgot that, man. It's just weird. You know, the rest of the conference I don't remember, but I remember Les in the Cadillac. Welcome back, my friend. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you.
Now, I want to jump into this because there's a lot of different things to talk about tonight. I do want to talk about OPUS and abductions, and we'll spend the majority of the show on that. But right now, we've got something cruising through our solar system. You know, it's called 3i Atlas. It's got a lot of attention. It's behaving very strange. I've got my own opinions. What are yours? What do you think is going on with 3i Atlas?
Yeah, I think what we're dealing with is basically an aberration to a normal comet, and I'm not really of the camp that believes that this is some alien object that's coming into our solar system. I believe it's probably some weird natural phenomena that's happening. Now, the latest thing that I've heard, and I don't know if you've read much about this part of it, but supposedly a beam of light has been shown our way in some way, shape, or form, which I'm not sure about. I have not heard other than that fact alone as to what it could possibly be. But I'm just thinking that it's more of a natural phenomena than a something that's extraterrestrial in nature.
Okay. I'm not into debating, but I'll
Mhm.
argue with a friend.
Okay, you
Okay,
got it.
so this is this is this is where I'm kind of tripping out a little bit, Les. Right now, as you and I are talking, I mean, right in the now, we have not one, but two comets up that we can look at and observe. Two at the same time. And then we have this third object, 3I Atlas. So now we've got three in our sky at the same time. And I don't know if any time in history anything like this has ever happened before. If 3I Atlas turns out to be a comet, then we've got three comets at the same time. That's crazy. But we have two comets up there that we know are comets, and we can compare those two to 3I Atlas, and they're not the same.
Mhm.
That's where I just back up and go, something is strange here, and it just may be. I'm okay with this. 3I Atlas may be an ET probe that's out checking out the Milky Way, and it cruised through our star system, and that's kind of where I'm feeling right now. Only you know
Mhm.
why? Because we have two other comets that we can look at. I went outside right before the show, right after our sound check. Right, I went outside and I looked at the comet that's right below. It's Swan, the one that's right below the Big Dipper, and you can
Mhm.
see it naked eye. You can look right at it, and I took a picture of it. You know what? So check this out. I took this picture. I wasn't planning on showing this on the show, but so I took this picture, and you this how do I say this? With with a cell phone, you can see it perfectly. But no, you can't see it. Crap.
No.
Well, it's right
Yeah.
there. It's right there. And you can see the green tail coming below
Mhm.
it, or it's above it. And that's a comet. And you can see it with your
Yeah,
naked eye.
right.
3I Atlas, everything that we know about comets,
It's
3I
different.
Atlas doesn't have. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's different. And one of the things that I don't know if you saw this thing about this remote viewer guy. It was talking about the fact that this is an object that's alien controlled, and that they're coming here to pick up the star seeds. Uh,
okay.
so
Well,
that's a
you know,
whole nother ball game.
right. I don't jump in the deep end of that pool. Um, plus we have back with Comet Hale Bop and
Mhm.
everything that happened with that. You know what? I'm just not going to go there. Um, and
Yeah, either am I.
I love the woo. I love the woo. Do you know how many remote viewers have emailed me about what they've read about the comet and what they found out?
Probably a
I've
lot.
got I've got 25 emails, 25 different versions to the story. You know,
Yeah.
I've got radio communications
Mhm.
and things that are going back and forth. Okay, all right. Um, yeah, anything is possible. See, that's the other thing, Les. You and I have been at this for a long time. One thing that you and I have learned, anything is possible. I don't dismiss anybody's experiences.
Right.
I don't. I I've seen too
Yeah.
much weird stuff myself, and I hear it come out of my mouth. This crazy. I'm like, I got to stop saying that because I know how crazy it sounds. I do. But I just want the same respect out of everybody else that I give them. I listen to everything. I really can't dismiss anything because I've experienced too much strangeness, haven't you?
Oh, absolutely. And it's like you said. I mean, we've experienced so much in the last couple of years, especially with the congressional hearings. that have been going on. That like Oumuamua, that is this an alien craft that has come through our solar system from another galaxy? Now to this one, the AI Atlas situation. Anything is possible. Is it probable that this is an alien craft? I tend to lean like, okay, it's maybe 49%, maybe, or less than that, even, that it is some kind of alien craft. But it's unusual. There's no question about it, where it's come from. And so, right away, we start to imagine certain things and conjecture certain things that are possibilities in all of this. And so I'm open to it. I'm open to it. I mean, if they all of a sudden stop that damn thing right outside our atmosphere, that's a whole another ball game.
Yeah, we tomorrow and forward, right? 3i Atlas is going to be out from behind the sun, and we will be able to point everything at it and see. What will be interesting, here's the difference. What will be interesting is will they share what they find? Right? Will they share what if it is ET? Are they going to share that? But here's the other, this is the problem. The government's not in the control of this narrative like they used to be. There are too many amateur astronomers with amazing telescopes and video capabilities that will be tracking this too as well. So you can't make stuff up. There's too many people that are going to be looking at this. And just like last week on the 15th, we had a 60 foot asteroid come within 60,000 miles of Earth on the 15th. That's pretty close, right? Considering the moon is 250,000 miles away. So it was,
That's very close.
25% of the distance to the moon. And it's 50. It was discovered 2 days before by amateur astronomers, right? And they're always looking to the sky. They're looking at it all the time. And that's the one thing that the government is not in control of.
Well, it's like, I mean, it's like these ham radio operators that listen in on what NASA is talking to the astronauts on the moon and all of that. I mean, we've gotten some really interesting information that way. So yes, it'll be interesting to see what comes forward now with this object coming closer and closer to us.
Yeah. Don't forget, we just had the rapture last month, and you and I are still here. So
yes, we are.
We missed the rapture. You and I are.
We must be bad people.
Yeah,
we are very bad.
Bad seed. And so having this come through, my question is the same that I think is on everybody else's mind. If it turns out to be extraterrestrial, some kind of interstellar probe just sent here to check things out, can the world handle it? And my answer is yes. What is yours?
Yeah, I think that probably 70 to 80% of the people on this planet will be able to handle it, but then the rest will have a difficult time with it. Whether you're a devout Christian or Christian nationalist or what have you, I think those groups might have a really difficult time in handling all of this. I don't want to get into politics, but the bottom line is that I think the majority of the people, and I agree with you, that will be able to handle this. And we've been talking about this for years and years, that we're not alone in this universe. And so now, all of a sudden, if this actually comes to fruition, that we have definitive proof that we're not alone, then it's like this conscious dissonance that we all have dealt with for years and years will vanish, will disappear, because there'll be no choice in the matter. It's like they are here, we know about them, and they are not here in a majority of cases. And I'm not saying all of the cases, but in a majority of the cases, they're pretty benevolent.
Yeah, I would say that that's the case. I mean, if they weren't, you and I wouldn't be talking right now. And I know that that's been something that's been repeated for a long time, but it's nothing new, that kind of thought. But I tend to agree with that side. Here's the other thing. What if it is an ET probe and it doesn't stop and it keeps on going? And I guess my answer to that would be, well, they took a look and they saw Earth and they went, yep, trailer park. They've still got the smartest person on the planet is Neil deGrasse Tyson. They're not ready. They're not ready. They're not ready. Let's just keep going. We'll be back in 100 years.
Yeah. Time is not right. It's not quite right.
Time is not quite right. So, I mean, we'll jump into the abduction phenomenon here in a second, but one of the things that you have heard, we have all have heard over the years, is this constant regurgitating of this mantra that Earth is not ready. And then on the flip side of that, the contactees and others are looking for somebody to come and save us, to give us the secrets of everything. And I just don't think that's how it's supposed to play out. Waiting for somebody to come and save this planet, or them saying that we are not ready, that we need to think about cleaning up the planet and the animals and pollution and nuclear this and that. I think those are all trivial matters to ET. I don't think that would be a reason for not contacting us. I think it would be more of a consciousness evolution thing that we haven't done yet.
Yeah, I have to disagree with you a little bit there, Jimmy, because of the number of people that my organization and me personally have dealt with, that these people that have been abducted, okay, almost without exception, come back with a totally different worldview that is very positive. That we do need to, as you mentioned, be better stewards of the planet, to be better to one another, to be more loving. These are all very positive.
I totally agree with you. I totally agree.
And so I think that if enough people, we reach a critical mass with regard to this way of thinking, that this place could be a lot better. That, yes, we're fucking up the planet. Excuse my French. We're doing a great job with that.
That was a correct use of the word, by the way.
Oh, thank you. and that if we continue to do this, we're not going to have a planet that you and I can live on, or our grandkids can live on, or anybody can live on. And we need to take drastic action very, very soon because of what's going on. I mean, we got the Gulf Stream that's starting to slow down. And what are the ramifications of that? I mean, there's so many ramifications as far as what the global climate is doing. Whether the sea levels are rising, which they are. There's no question about it. I had a relative that was in the Air Force, high up in the Air Force, and he told me like 10 years ago that yes, the sea levels are going to rise by 3 meters. That's 9 feet. Can you imagine some of these places? They're going to be underwater. New York City has got a real big problem coming up if that raises that high. But I mean, the bottom line on all of this is the fact that I think the majority of the people that have had contact are coming back with positive feelings about how we should move forward in our lives and how we deal with the planet. And I think that's extremely important. Now, yes, there are people that have had terrible situations, experiences, but luckily it's a small number of people, maybe 25 to 30% of the people that have had contact, but the vast majority have been very positive.
I've got a twisted mind. I will admit that. Okay, so if you look inside my head, man, okay, but here's my take on that. And this is where the government has got it flipped over backwards. But maybe the cabal and whoever's running this planet, maybe it's what they want. But hear me out. If you tell us that we are not alone in the universe and that we have made contact, then the entire mindset of the planet changes. And now we have a reason to be earthlings and take care of this place for our space brothers and sisters. You want to clean up your apartment before your parents come over, right? Okay. And you want to take, you know what I mean?
Yep.
If you tell us that, we have a goal, a reason for the future and our children and our grandchildren, future generations. But if you tell us that we are alone in the universe, fuck it. Let's party. Let's burn this sucker down. There's no reason for anything. Free heroin. You know what I mean? I'm serious. The mindset of the planet would change for the negative. And it would be chaos. There wouldn't be do you know how dark of a thought that would be, that we are just alone in the blackness?
Well, I think you bring up an interesting point, because I think that's what religion is all about. I think this is like a control mechanism, okay? And unfortunately, religion has gone in directions that maybe are not as positive as it should be, and I think what we've lost with our civilization is spirituality, and being open to being good to one another, and doing the right things with each other.
And you're right. Again, Les, you are so spot on. I like the way you think. If it's disclosed that we are alone in the universe, then there is no religion. There is nothing. There's absolutely nothing. We're in a 2D chemical existence.
Yep.
Where nothing matters. Consciousness, this, everything. And that, you would have worldwide problems at that point. Saying that we're not alone in the universe changes everything. It's one of the paramount, it's a non-trivial question. It's like the biggest question. It's the biggest one. Are we alone? What is out there? We've been asking that since the dawn of man.
Yeah, and you talk about the Big Bang and everything, and my big question is, what the hell was there before the Big Bang, and who was in control? Who was in control of that? And I think this is when we start to really wonder about the fact that is there some mega intelligence that's running the show, that we just don't have an understanding. We're dealing with a different reality. This reality that we're dealing with here, as you say, two planes, two-dimensional kind of a thing. But now there's a third dimension and a fourth dimension, and now multiple dimensions that we're dealing with. And this is the kind of thing that it's hard to get our minds wrapped around all of this. And we're starting to, pick away at the edges of this whole phenomena, which is remarkable. That's been with us for forever. I mean, this reality that we're dealing with these entities, whether they're extraterrestrial in nature, whether they're time travelers, whether they're interdimensional in nature, whether it's our military, or is it all the above, or anything you could possibly think of? I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah, our ability. This is what I really enjoy. Well, hold on. Les, at any point in time, you can go back 100 years, right? You go back 100. 1890, there was a physicist, a scientist. I can't remember who this is attributed to, but this was the famous quote in 1890. We've learned everything. There's nothing left to know, right? Well, you back that up 20 years, you could say this, and you look right now at 2025, and we have learned a lot. And as earthlings now, our ability to understand, which increases every day, we understand more and more, and we know things. Our ability to now think about things like extra dimensions and interdimensional this and that, and consciousness, and the size of the universe. These are things that weren't possible just 50 years ago. You know,
Oh,
60
totally.
years ago, 70 years ago. And today, the average person, average on this planet, because of the Marvel universe, knows what the multiverse is, right? Understands the basics of time travel, understands what quantum is and the quantum worlds. And that's crazy that just like average people can have these conversations that were just absolute science fiction 50 years ago.
Oh, absolutely. In that time frame, 50 years, how far we have come right now. I work out 3 times a week, and when I got one of the machines, it's a Pelcor machine, and they have a section that you can tap into called Science Tech. And some of the articles that are in Science Tech are just blows your mind of talking about quantum, talking about various other topics, and how to go into DNA and manipulate that, and then cause certain things to happen in a certain way that would cause us to be less susceptible to certain diseases and things of that nature. Science is progressing at a rapid pace now with AI thrown on top of all of that. I tell you, Jimmy, within the next 10 years, you're not going to recognize anything anymore. It's going to be just so different, so different. And hopefully, you and I will still be here to talk about it.
I hope so. Last week, I had Lawrence Krauss on the show. And Lawrence, one of the big thinkers, you know, one of those rock star physicists, and he's wrote some powerful books, and I've followed his career, and he's influenced me a lot. But here's the thing, and having somebody, you know, of his, you know, level on the show, I ride a Harley. You know, I'm not some PhD dude, but I'm interested in the stuff, and I am pretty smart. And I have a logic side of my brain. And there, I caught Lawrence, and I'm not busting his chops. It's the intellectual community in general think this way. That they want to compare an advanced ET civilization to what we know now. And that doesn't work. Anything that's out there that can visit this planet is way beyond where, you know, a guy like Lawrence Krauss, who understands physics and theoretical physics and crazies, he's very, very smart. But where we are going to be in 50 years or 100 years, you're going to look back at string theory or Brian Greene or any of these intellectuals that are running Lawrence Krauss today, and look at it as the Stone Ages where we are going to be. And so trying to figure out how ET is getting here, we're going to have a whole different outlook on it in 50 years or 100 years versus the way we understand the laws of physics today, right? I'm not crazy thinking like that, am I?
Absolutely. You're right on. I mean, I've always kind of laughed at some of our physicists that said, well, that's impossible. You can't do that. Bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's like, come on, open up your minds. You got to be able to think beyond what you know. You have to understand the possibilities that exist, that there are physics that we don't understand. And we're finding out more things every day about the things that we don't understand. And I think that the fact that these entities, whoever they might be, are coming here in a way that we totally don't understand, have no concept of even understanding it. And so I think that we need to be more open-minded. Our scientific community needs to be more open-minded. And now it's starting to happen. There are more and more people coming forward that are opening up their minds to try to understand this. Gary Nolan's group, the Soul Group,
Yeah.
that bringing those people together. I mean, that's fantastic. I mean, absolutely fantastic. And Robert Powell and his SCU group that's looking at all these phenomena as well. I mean, it's great. It's great that we're starting to open up a little bit, opening up our kimono, if you will, to try
Yeah,
to.
I asked Lawrence about that last week. Literally asked him that question. What do you think about the criticism that the science community doesn't have an open mind? He's like, blah, 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 bullshit. Well, we gotta, we're fully. Oh no, 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 no. I was like, see, that's the problem right there, right? That you've got
Absolutely.
the blinders on. You've got
Yeah.
the blinders on. This is my take. I'm going to give you my take. I want you to laugh.
Okay.
But I think what I'm about to say, I think is fact. Okay. It's not imagination. Right now, on some planet in the Milky Way, there's a husband and wife watching TV, right? E.T., right? Kicking back. And he turns to his wife and says, hey, you want to go to Earth and get some in and out? We can be back in a half an hour before the kids get home from school. All right, let's go. And because it's easy, right? You and I can jump in your Cadillac and go to In and Out and be back before the show starts, right?
Mhm.
Why? 100 years ago, 150 years ago, that would be some black magic voodoo shit.
Oh,
That
absolutely.
nobody would even understand. But today, it's just what you do. And it's got to be the same thing for ET.
Well, Arthur C. Clarke, famously said that, all of this looks like magic to us, what the aliens can do. And it totally is for us at this point in time. It's totally magic. And so anything is possible. Absolutely anything is possible.
Um, let's talk about abductions for a second. I'm going to start here. When when you look at the subject of abductions, something that I've researched for 50 years, right? And you look at this, what we don't hear about today is like the classic abduction, right? The classic thing. And we have, going back to like George Van Tassel, certainly Betty and Barney Hill, or Travis Walton, or Pascagoula, and everything else, where we can look at very specific cases and a methodology to it. And it seems that pattern has changed, or has it? And the other thing is, we certainly don't have a lack of people making contact today. We hear about it probably more so than ever. So have abductions changed over the years, or do they still occur in the classic sense and we just don't hear about it?
No, they're still occurring in the classic sense, very frequently. And the only reason why it seems like it's happening more and more is the fact that we're able to communicate the way we can communicate with our social media, with the various groups that are out there now. There's more and more groups that are paying attention to this kind of thing besides OPUS. And so I think that people are now, especially with the congressional hearings that are going on, they're feeling a lot more comfortable in coming forward and talking about their cases. These cases all start off the same way. It is a mind-blowing situation for the person that has contact like this, especially in the first one or two instances. And it's terrifying. It's terrifying. It's very negative to be pulled out of your bedroom or out of your car or wherever you happen to be, in your office. It can be anywhere that these kind of things go on, and they do not understand what's going on. They have no. they have no conception of the outcome that's going to occur, and so it's a very difficult time for these people, and so what we found, and we've done a number of studies. The first one was the omega-3 study that we did, which was funded by MUFON back in 2007. And we found that these people did not have a psychopathology. They were totally sane. They came back with a changed worldview. These people that did have experiences, their temporal lobe activity was quite different. And so we've been looking at that kind of factor. But the bottom line is, as these things continue to go, people begin to accept what's going on. And they find that at a certain point, they don't want them to stop. They want to continue because of the relationship that is developed with these entities. Whether they're extraterrestrial, whether they're interdimensional, whatever they're energy beings or whatever they may be. Like in the case of Chris Bledsoe, in the female entity angel. So it is a reality we just still do not understand, and it's dramatic in how it affects people. Some people have an extremely difficult time in trying to deal with this kind of thing. I mean, it wrecks their lives. They can't talk to their family members. They have issues at work. They're afraid to bring this up, and so that's what OPUS is about. We try to help these kind of people.
Do you think that, okay, so the classic story, I'm going to use metaphor. I'm just going to make this up, right? But okay, so I was driving, saw a light, pulled the car over, craft landed, 3 beings came out and pulled me out of my car through the windshield, right? Floated me across. My feet didn't touch the ground. The next thing you know, I'm on a metal table in a round stainless steel room, and stuff started to go down. Okay, there's that, which is a physical experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then I have mine, and I was regressed. And during that regression, it was revealed to me that I went on a ship for 5 seconds and saw it and observed it. And then I was back on the ground. Vivid, right? Vivid. And it's now that memory's unlocked in my head. It's crazy to me. Now, I didn't know about it before. Did that experience happen as a physical experience for me, and I didn't remember it? Or less, was it an interdimensional experience that is just as real as anything else, like a DMT trip or whatever, right? Going to another dimension.
And out of body.
Yeah. Was it that? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But to me, it seems that E.T., any advanced race, Les, would understand extra dimensions and may exist in another time scale that's beyond our own, that we don't even see or experience unless we are in that dimension. And that may be a large part. This is why I say that. Back before World War II, radar was a different situation. And we didn't have, that was emerging technology. We didn't have satellites. We didn't have sensor systems orbiting the Earth. We didn't have anything. But today, we can see a physical craft coming, right? And they know that now. So that now they have to get around the ability of getting detected, right? And so maybe there is a serious interdimensional component to this, with contact that we never had before.
Totally. I mean, you talk about your particular situation. I mean, it could be out of body type of phenomena that happens, and this is very common as well. And these are the kind of things, whether they're dreams of being out of body. Uh, it's all possible, and we just don't fully understand how these mechanisms really work. I mean, we talk about time travel, we talk about time and space, you know, types of variations where people can be brought back before they're taken, or taken before they're brought back. I mean, this is just amazing manipulation of time and space that these entities seem to be able to have. And so, talk about messing with your mind. They certainly have that ability to telepathically do things to us, where I've been told I've been on a ship before. Okay. Um, one day in one of the support group meetings that I was running, a person came up to me and said, "I've seen you before." And I said, "Oh, really? At a UFO conference?" No, I saw you on board the craft." Well, I kind of blew it off. I didn't think much about it. And then it was like a year and a half later, a totally different person came up to me after the meeting and said the same damn thing. And I said, "Where? At a UFO?" No. You were sitting on this bench naked. You were freaking out. They told me to go over to you to calm you down. And so at that point, I decided to go get regressed. And so I went and got regressed. I had 3 separate past lives, very different past lives,
With
very
clothes
different.
on, with clothes on or off,
With
Les?
clothes on. I
Okay.
was totally clothed, and um, but I had no recollection of doing anything on board a craft. And then I talked to a person subsequently, and they said, "Well, perhaps in that particular lifetime, one of your past lifetimes, you were abducted, and that's when this person tapped into it." And that's the thing about this whole phenomena, that they're able to mix time and space in a way that it's very difficult to put your finger on it and to understand it the way that we normally understand things.
When uh, one of the criticisms that we all hear, that I've said myself, is that with regression, people are influenced by the movies, by things that they've read, things that they've been told, their friends, and they're going to formulate something in their imagination, and that's all it is, and so forth. Okay. All right. I've said that too. But then I was regressed, and I had that experience, and I don't hold that faith, and it's not belief, it's more of a faith. I don't look at it that way anymore. But the description that I gave of who was in the room, that I was there, I've never heard anything like that.
Mhm.
And I have repeated this on the air, but also to friends and experiencers of my and therapists and so forth. And they all said, "Wow, really?" No, so what came out of my mouth, and it surprised me. What came out of my mouth was interesting even to me. I'd never heard a description like that in the past. So obviously, I wasn't influenced. There was no steel examining table in the room, or anything like that, and I didn't even see the walls. I
Yeah.
couldn't describe any of that. It was just all black. It was like everything was floating, and
Well, when you were talking to the therapist, I mean, the bottom line is how you reacted to it. And I remember mine. I was so emotional, and you were probably very emotional when you were talking about this.
no,
Uh,
I wasn't. No, as a matter of fact, and I played some of the video clip. We did this for my TV show. Okay.
mhm.
And so I'm lying on the couch. Sarah's next to me right here. Sarah Bressman Cosme. She's amazing. So she's doing the session. And I go, and I remember, Les, I swear on all that's holy. When this moment happened, I was so confused. I didn't know what was going on, but my arms are on my, I'm like that.
Mhm.
And this is what comes out of my mouth. Jimmy doesn't know about this. And I went, "Who's talking? Is there somebody else in the room here?" Right? Is there You know, there's three of us. This is my thought process. I was confused. I was a little frightened that this voice came out and just said this. I was like, what do you mean I don't know about this? What are you talking about? Oh, okay, well, you're about to find out. You know, something like that. and this memory was just unlocked. Poof. Just like that. It was only 5 seconds. That's it. That's it. Beginning to end. Yeah. The only way I can describe it, Les, is I was beamed up. I know it's a Star Trek thing, but just imagine that. It was like I was beamed up. I looked around the room. This dude looked at me and nodded his head like, what's up? And he turned back around. I looked, and just as I absorbed the room, burp, I'm back on the ground looking up at the craft. And I remember seeing the craft. I was with a group of friends and we all saw it pull in. It was gold. It was gold. It was like gold. And was right above us, not very far, 1,000 feet or so, and stopped right above. And we're all looking at it like, whoa, 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 whoa. Because it approached us from a distance and then stopped and then went straight up into the stars above us. It was crazy. And that's apparently when that whole 5-second thing happened.
You know, that's incredible. I mean, you didn't have enough time to even get emotional. It just happened so quickly for you. But I mean, most of the people that have had experiences that get regressed, it becomes a very emotional type of a situation where they're telling the story of what happened to them, and that's the part for me that it seems to make me believe that these things are actually happening. It's not just a thought process that's going on. This is real. And of course, they come back with marks on their body, implants, and various other telltale signs of the fact that something has happened to them. Yeah.
Yeah. I came back with Fender and Gibson tattoos on my forearms. It's proof, man. It's proof.
Yeah, that's it.
The other part of this with your group, I love the TV show People of Earth, and I've watched it, so many times, both seasons. I wish they would have continued it. It was too good.
That was good.
Dude, it's real. I've been to many meetings, right? They're spot on. But that's pretty close, isn't it? Are your meetings very similar?
Well, well, the thing is, years and years ago now, since OPUS has been in business since 1994, so over 30 years, we had a lot of local support type meetings in Northern California that I facilitated. And so they were very, very much like that, very much like that. Nowadays, what we do is we have a confidential online support group where we have over 500 people from around the world that are chatting, 24/7 with one another about their experiences. And by the way, did you have that kind of experience? I've had this kind of particular experience. Did you have one of those? And so these people are kind of talking about what they experience and understand that they're not alone. And it's proved to be probably the most helpful thing for these people to understand that they are not alone, because most of the time they can't talk to family members, they can't talk to clergy, they can't talk to their fellow workers because they're afraid of people thinking they're crazy. The bottom line is they're not.
Truer words have never been spoken. In 1995, Les, I'm not going to tell the whole story. It doesn't matter. But I had a little thing that happened. I was living alone in Sherman Oaks, and I had somebody show up in my bedroom at 2:00 in the morning. All right. And so after that, which by the way, I slept with the lights on for the next 10 years after that and the TV. God. I'm not joking.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it.
I didn't tell anybody, nobody, not my closest friend, not my family, no. No, I was freaked out about the experience, but I didn't have a way to explain it.
Mhm.
So what do I do? And right after that happened, another strange thing, like a month later, I've never talked about this on the air. Um, I had two friends over at my condo. This is in Sherman Oaks, and in the middle of the day, and we left to go to lunch. Chinese. Well, we walked right up to Ventura Boulevard. We were coming back from lunch, and I see this guy walking out of my condo. And the condominium building that we had, it was 4 condos on the first floor, 4 condos on the second floor. That's it. It wasn't like a 100-room building. It was
Mhm.
eight condos, 3-story, parking on the first floor. I lived on the second floor in the back, but it wasn't a busy building. There was nobody ever there. It was only, you know what I mean? Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
Yep.
So we're walking up the sidewalk, and I see this guy walking out from my building across the street, and I just noticed him. Now, what was he wearing and this and that? He looked burglarish to me.
Mm.
He looked, I don't know, dressed dark. There's something weird about him. Anyway, we don't pay him any attention. I just noticed him, but we walk into my building, go back, and we're walking, and my apartment was broken into. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. The whole front thing was cracked open, door
Wow.
was open. And
Mm.
we walked in, and I went, holy crap. And we called the police. Police showed up, and I'm looking around, and nothing was taken.
Hmm.
I have things. I have nice things, guitars, big
Mhm.
watch collection. I had stuff. Nothing was taken. It was weird. The
Hmm.
whole thing just was unsettling to me. Got the police report. Owner of the building came by and repaired him, and insurance, and put in a steel door frame and all of that, which I felt better about. But the
Mm.
timing was weird.
Yeah. Especially
Timing.
seeing that guy all dressed up in black.
I was, yeah, that was a very strange period for me. That was a very strange period.
I can imagine. I can imagine. My God. Terrible.
Well, it's only because we're all out there, like you said, searching for answers. We have our deeply personal reasons for doing this. I have mine, but these are things that we keep to ourselves. We
Yep.
just don't talk about it. And I having Opus and other groups like that, and the stuff that you did with MUFON too as well when that started, was that there was no place for anybody to go. And I really
Mhm.
wanted people to hear that on this show, that there are people out there to go and talk to. And I think that's the most important part of Opus and groups like yours.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jimmy, and appreciate you having me on to talk about this because there's a definite need for this kind of assistance for people that are having these kind of experiences because you generally speaking, you can't go to your local psychologist or psychiatrist and start talking to them about this because they start feeding you, if you're a psychiatrist, what's your favorite drug? They want to start giving you drugs to suppress all of this, but it's happening. It's a real factor that needs to be dealt with in a different way. And so we do have therapists and hypnotherapists that are familiar with the topic that people can go to, and they will listen and not be judgmental, and help you as best they can. Yeah, so this is a very important situation for people, and we hopefully can help people in some way, shape, or form, get them through this so that they can deal with life in a normal way.
Our guest tonight, the one and only Les Velez, is with us. We're talking about abductions. We just spent the first half of the show also talking about 3i Atlas and Contact. Everybody stay right there. Les, stay right there. I am your host, Jimmy Church. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break. Stay with us.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel to get your alerts and access to over 2,000 videos. Click that subscribe button right now. Go to jimmychurchradio.com and get the Fade to Black official podcast. 2,000 episodes, all of them commercial free for just $2 a month. Watch Into the Vortex on Gaia TV. It's Fade to Black for the screen. Simple to do. Go to Gaia.com, search Jimmy Church, or click on the link below. Follow Fade to Black on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Get all of the show updates every single day. It's now called X, but who cares? How you doing? Jimmy Church here. Special announcement. Get your Fade to Black t-shirts. That's right. Help support the show. Help support everything that we do over here. We've got 2 t-shirts. We've got 2 ways to get them. Get your Fade to Black t-shirt today. Go Beckley Teppy. Go to jimmychurchradio.com and become a Fadernaut. Get a membership. That's right. Everything is commercial free. You have access to downloads, and you get to call yourself a Fadernaut.
Jimmy Church, Gaia TV, Fade to Black, here at Machu Picchu with Brian Forster and Hidden Inca Tours. Amazing tour so far, Brian, but we're here to announce what we're going to do next year in 2026. What's going on?
Okay, November 2026, we're going to have our major tour of Peru and Bolivia, either a pre or post tour of Paracas and Nazca on the coast. And then after that, 6 days in Easter Island.
Bucket list, Easter Island. Come join Brian and I and his amazing team here at Hidden Inca Tours for Peru, Bolivia, and Easter Island. Signing out. Say goodbye, Brian.
Bye, gang.
River Moon Coffee, makers of the Fade to Black blend. Truly the best coffee on planet Earth. Just visit rivermoonwellness.com or their Amazon store. It's all simple to do. You can check out the Fade to Black blend, the Game Changer blend, or any of their Black Moon Wellness products. It's the only coffee I drink. It is the best, and it's Doc. Again, rivermoonwellness.com.
All right. Welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church tonight. Les Velez is with us. We're talking about ET abductions tonight. We jumped into 3-Eye Atlas, which everybody is interested in these days. The media, all those 3-letter agencies, and of course the public. It's very interesting what's going on right now to have 3 objects in the night sky at the same time. It's absolutely incredible. And our guest tonight is Les Velez. He's right there. Les.
Yes, sir.
Camille just jumped into the chat.
Oh, hi, Camille.
See, you know what? I'm going to say this. I've known Camille for a long time, and she's been to my house and things like that. I've known her for a long time. She is about as cool as it gets. She's the cool side of the pillow. Les, did you freeze?
Yes. No, I don't think so. I'm good.
Did you freeze? I just said Camille is cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've interviewed her.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's, here's the other part. She's a professional. She is
Actors?
an actor. Well,
Mhm.
we don't say actress.
Actor? Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
we say
Actor.
actor these days.
Actor. Yes.
You don't get on a plane and say stewardess, do you?
No, 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 not
Okay,
lately.
all right. But anyway, she's just a professional and a talent,
Hmm.
but she's an experiencer. Um,
Yep.
Here's the other part. Going back to, I want to talk about Opus. There was a funny scene in People of Earth that got it. So it just makes me wonder if those writers infiltrated our community. I swear to you, because they just got so much right. And one of them was, so they got a new person in the group, right? And who introduced themselves as an abductee. And everybody goes, whoa, 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 whoa. We're experiencers. We don't use the word abductee anymore.
Right.
And it was just so funny. And I was like, well, that was spot on.
Hmm.
You know, but it's really true. Experiencers. Um, with your group, are there still mentions of the classic form of abduction, or are they more like mine, which may be interdimensional?
No, I think the initial stage of these experiences is an abduction. There's no way around it. However, as these things continue, they become more of an experience. Okay, and thus the terminology experiencer or contactee, if you will. So we have abductee, experiencer, contactee, um, but certainly abductee has certainly fallen out of favor of late, and we have more people talking about their experiences, and certainly the beginning phase is still, for most people, almost without exception, an abduction. I mean, they didn't think about this whole topic at all, most cases, and all of a sudden they're yanked out of their environment, wherever it might be, and taken on board a craft, in most cases, examined, and then put back, um, sometimes with their clothes that they had before they they were abducted, or without it, or with somebody else's. um, there's so many variations to when you really get down to the nuts and bolts of the whole experience. They can vary substantially, but the basic parts of the abduction experience or experience for these people is pretty similar.
What about somebody that feels that something occurred, or maybe it's missing time, or whatever it may be? You have a fork in the road there, a decision to make. You can go and try to find out what happened,
Mhm.
or not, and just leave it alone. I was very okay with not finding out. Okay, I really was. It
Yeah,
was like, whatever happened, I'm going to leave it right there.
yeah.
What kind of advice do you give to someone that's at that fork in
Mm.
the road?
Yeah, that's a good question, Jimmy. We have that all the time where people ask us, "Okay, I've been thinking about hypnosis, and I'd like to maybe understand what happened to this certain period of time, which I can't remember anything about." And so, what we often tell people is the fact that you need to be very sure, because once the toothpaste is out of the tube, it's hard to put it back in. So you may not want to understand what happened. So you have to be very, very sure. So we always caution people that they need to be of a certain mind, that you're willing to go down that road and find out whatever it is down there, because it could be dramatic, it could be scary, it could be a lot of different things. But we certainly don't want them to just willy nilly just sign up and then find out something that'll make them even in worse shape than they were before they started the process.
Yeah, it's always been a concern of mine in doing a show like this,
Hmm.
because I know how fragile I felt. And I didn't want to be tipped either way. I had so many different therapists approach me when I told my story on the air many times about what happened in 1995 with this thing that was in my room.
Hmm.
Okay, Jimmy, you need to be regressed. No, I don't. No, no, no. The way that it happened and the way that it went down, I need to leave it right there. I'm
Yeah.
not interested in anything else that is in or around it. I don't want to know. But Jimmy, no, no, you're not hearing me. And if I do any other sessions in the future, by the way, I've only done one and it was exhausting to me.
Hmm. Hmm.
I mean, I was just I could not imagine doing that a couple times a year, you know. But anyway, now that I've had the experience of doing a session, I don't know if I want to go back and investigate other things. And in my
I,
past, and I'm
I, I, I agree with you. I agree with you because I mean, people have asked me, said, okay, now that you've had multiple past lives, do you want to now go back and look at your situation with regard to possibly ET contact, NHI contact, I'm no, I'm perfectly fine not understanding any more about that situation. But here's a what it maybe it's not a philosophy, but uh, uh, something that to think about is the fact that I believe, okay, this is a theory. That's what I was going for, a theory that we've all had an experience, whether we consciously remember it or not. I firmly am starting to believe that fact that we've all had some kind of an experience like this, whether we consciously remember it or not, because of the things that have happened to me, but also in talking to all these other people. You know, my book, I wrote a book a couple of years ago called Unknown Other, and uh, the, uh, the um, uh, thing about aliens and how they interact with people and the physical and the psychological effects of all of that, and the extent existential proposition of alien contact is where I was going with that. So I really believe that in some way, shape, or form, we've all had an experience, um, and I think that a lot of us can't remember those things. Maybe, and that's a good thing. Maybe that's a very good thing that we don't remember those kind of things.
I I I think dreams. Okay. I think when we dream, we are in another reality, just not this one. And we are accessing that. Where time doesn't make any sense in a dream, you know, and you wake up and you're just like, how did I just dream a week's worth of stuff in 6 hours? Right? It doesn't make sense, but yet it happens. And is that evidence of just another reality? And we access that is just as real as this one. It's just that our eyes are open. I'm convinced of that. I don't know if you have done DMT. It's none of my business,
Hmm.
but I have. I've done it twice. And here's the crazy thing about it. And both, it's just, 5-10 minute thing. Well, one was a little longer. But you're straight before and after, right? Well, straight's the wrong word, but you're back in this reality like
Hmm.
that, right? Okay. But it was real. That was the crazy part. If you, okay, Les, I know that you partied at Woodstock. Okay, so here's the deal with that. When you go and you do some kind of drugs, and you hallucinate, you are, or imagining things, you're doing it in this reality. You're on your front or backyard, or you're at you are in that reality where you see something happen. Okay. That's not the case with DMT. You are someplace else. It's not, there's nothing that you can relate to this. It's completely new, and it's strange, and just it's just the ability to access this. And that's the fascinating part, that there is another reality that's right here, another multiverse that is right here. We just don't see it. Right? That's the crazy part.
Yeah, it's a way of connecting with that other reality, whether it's your ayahuasca that you would be taking, or DMT, or any other LSD. These are kind of things that open up our senses in a way that we can't access normally. And the shamans, the Native American Indians. Have been able to tap into these other realities. They know that there is this other reality that exists, and sometimes we can do that without the use of hallucinogenics, or with them, and it's remarkable that. This is a spirituality that exists, that most people don't have the capability of doing, or even wanting to do it, for that matter. They want to get up in the morning, have breakfast, go to work, come home at night, have a beer, watch TV, go to bed, do the same damn thing over and over and over again. You and I are lucky that we have the capability of having conversations like this, and you doing this kind of show, and me doing what I do to help people, because you are doing a great service, Jimmy. I mean, with your show, and bringing forward all these kinds of topics. So thank you very much for what you do.
Well, I appreciate that. For me, what's fascinating with it, because now I have a large body of work that covers it a long time, and I'm able to see how I have changed. That's the crazy part, because yes, I do what I do, and I do it every single night, every day of the week. That's it. Whether I'm doing this, or when I'm not doing this, I'm taping a TV show, or I'm out doing a movie, or out at a conference. 7 days a week, 4 weeks a month, 12 months a year. But I have changed. And anybody that would have, it's going to college. So I have been going to college for over a decade straight, learning, right? Just learning, interviewing the best and the brightest, and learning. And I have definitely evolved. I had a different way of looking at things, that I assumed that's how the world worked. And then doing this show as a service to others. But what I've learned about the supernatural, the paranormal, ET, conspiracy, whatever it may be, science supports all of the stuff that I'm questioning. And that's the part, if science didn't support it, then we're nuts, right? We're just but science supports all of this, the multiverse, and extra dimensions, and faster than light, and entanglement, and all of these crazy things that we wondered about before. Now science is saying, actually, we're showing you that this is all real. Here is the math, and this is why. And that's the crazy part. And that's how I have evolved. I'm actually more sane now than I was 15 years ago.
Very good.
Yeah, and I'm okay with it. How did you, Les? I've never asked you this before. How did you get started?
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, we have to go back to when I was 11 years old, and I was living in Connecticut at the time, and I was coming into the house. It was already dusk, and it was late October, and I looked to my right, and here's this object over a tree line, maybe 1,000 feet away, totally silent, totally silent, just moving slowly. And at first, it just scared the crap out of me, okay? Because I've never seen anything like it. It was self-illuminated, it was oval in shape, and no sound, no nothing. It just kept moving slowly away. And I ran in the house and I tried to get my father to come out. And by the time my father came out, it was gone. He says, "Oh, it's probably just a beacon of light reflecting off a cloud." And I didn't believe that. I didn't believe that at all. And so shortly thereafter, I went to the library and started picking up books on UFOs. And back in those days, this is the late 50s. George Adamski was the big writer back in those days, talking about his contact with the Venusians and his incredible photographs of the Venusian craft and everything. I really got hooked on it. And then I got older, kind of forgot about everything, went off to college, got in the service, got married, did that whole 9 yards. And in 1985, I moved out to California and picked up the San Jose Mercury News one day and saw this article about Stanton Freeman coming to San Jose City College to talk about UFOs and the government cover-up. And I'm going, holy crap, I got to go see this guy. That was like a switch was turned. It was like, I definitely had to go see him. So I expected to see a handful of people there. And when I got there, the auditorium was packed. There was like 300 people there. And he gave one of his inimitable, lectures, and showing all the redacted information that the CIA had done and everything. And so I walked out of there and I said, "Oh my God, I got to get involved with this." And lo and behold, MUFON had a table in the foyer, and they had a monthly journal that they produce. And so I started to get that. And after a while, that wasn't enough for me. And I found out that they had a field investigator training course that you can take to investigate cases. So I did that. I became an investigator. And all the cases, almost without exception, people were telling me that not only did they have a sighting, but they had contact with these non-human intelligences. In the first case, I said, "Oh, I don't know." I was kind of a nuts and bolts kind of a guy. And so I was rather skeptical about the first case, but then the second case, the third case, they were all telling me the same thing. So the next thing I know, a person asked me, said, "Do you know of other people that are having similar experiences?" And I said, "Yes, I do." I started to facilitate a support group in my office in San Jose. And that's when things got really interesting. And there's some incredible stories that came out of there. I'll tell you one quick one. I don't know how much time we got. I guess we've got time.
We have
Yeah.
all night for you, Les.
All right, man. So this couple, they were amateur pilots, and they had gone have a little picnic, I guess, in a state park north of Santa Cruz, Butano State Park. And they were coming out of the park at dusk. And this park is basically on the side of a hill, pretty steep area. And they noticed this light over the ocean, and it caught their attention, and it started to get bigger and bigger and bigger until literally it was over their head. And it was a triangular craft. And this thing was making no sound. It was about the size of a small Learjet. And it went slowly into a canyon behind where they were standing. And they noticed this other light over the ocean. In the same scenario, this thing got bigger and bigger, and it literally was over their head once again. And the first one, they felt they were looking at it. The second one, they felt it was looking at them, and they became frightened and moved up underneath this big pine tree. And I went up there with them to investigate this particular case. At that point, they felt like they were on remote control. They felt like they were floating, and they started to go down this hill And this hill is even during the day is dark because it's highly wooded and it's a lot of rocks and things like that. And they felt that they just kind of glided along that path down to where their car was. And that's the last thing they remember for 3 hours. They showed up at a restaurant, okay, which is only like 10 minutes away. So it wouldn't take them 3 hours to get there. And they don't recollect how they got there. So we had many discussions about that. They didn't want to get have hypnotherapy done on them. Okay, so this happened probably 25, 30 years ago. I got a call from them about 6 months ago
Oh,
out of the
really?
clear blue sky. Yeah, they called me up. They said, we need to talk. We need to talk to you. I said, okay. Oh, I need to back up just a little bit. They did come to one of our support group meetings after this happened. Okay. They had both developed a rash on their bodies and they had gone to their doctors and doctors couldn't figure out what it was. It wasn't, there's a lot of poison oak and poison ivy up in that area, but it wasn't that. And neither doctor, hers or his, could understand or could figure out what it was. They didn't understand what it was. So they took a picture of this rash and they showed it to the people in our support group. And almost without exception, each one of those people had a very similar rash. One of the people in our group said, I think I know what that's from. And so we said, okay, can you please tell us? And said, yeah, it's a reaction to the fluid that they dip you in when they bring you on board the craft to sanitize you.
I thought you were going to say it was the Last Supper or something. So, but see, this is what, you need to be careful about what you want to know, right? What is it that you want to find out? Because of things like this, suddenly a door opens that you were just not expecting.
So they did not remember that. Okay. Until, like I said, about 6 months ago, I think I lost you.
Yeah,
okay, we're back. Okay. So the reason why they called is that she started to remember the fact that she was dipped in this fluid. It came to her without hypnosis. It finally consciously, it came up, it bubbled up in her. And I mean, that's the kind of case that just blows your mind, is the fact that, yeah, you have this experience and then you have this reality, this recognition that, yes, something did happen like that, which I've never heard before from anyone, that they were dipped in a fluid to sanitize you. That's a first for me.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so 6 months ago they called you.
Yeah. And she remembered the fact, and that's why they called, because she wanted to tell me that she remembered the fact that she was dipped in this fluid. So, I mean, those are the kind of things that are just incredible to me, that they would do something like that to begin with. But it was a cause of that rash that they had.
When and I always think about, it's a bad example, but no, it is a good example. The movie Communion, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when Bud is got his experiencer group in New York, getting, or was it Bud right, the experiencer group,
Yeah.
and they're at the apartment and doing that, and how not only I don't want to say arguments, but I don't think it's one race of ET visiting this planet. I think it's thousands. I don't think it's 50, 70. I think it's thousands, tens of thousands. And everybody's experiences are just different. Why does everybody's experience have to be exactly the same? And that is something that critics want to, everybody's got these crazy, well, why would you think everybody's experience would be the same?
Yeah. One of the things that we just recently finished the first phase of the Omega-4 study, which we're going to probably publish here shortly, is the fact that the majority of experiencers are dealing with either the short grays or the tall grays. Okay, that seems to be the number one. But the other groups are the interdimensionals, the energy beings. And poltergeist activity is very prevalent. And you talk about the orbs that are been so prevalent of late. So there's all kinds of, and I agree with you 100% that we're not dealing with one race. We're dealing with multiple things, whether they're interdimensional, time travelers, extraterrestrial. So you can have a plethora of entities that people are dealing with, and they're dealing with multiple types of things, whether they're Nordics, whether they're reptilian, whether they're praying mantis types. It's all over the place, and but it seems like there's a conglomeration of 4 or 5 major groups that seem to be interacting with us predominantly. And of course, there's all kinds. There's the blues. There's the whites. I mean, there's whatever you can possibly think of is happening.
Mine that I've seen I don't want to come across as some crazy, that I've had this crazy amount of experiences and things. I don't want to come off that way, but I have seen some stuff. And when people ask me if I'm an experiencer, if I've made contact, I don't want to cross that line because I don't have any proof. I only have the experience itself. I don't know what it was, but the beings that I saw during the session, are you ready, Les? They were black. They were black. Not blue, not white, not gray, not this, not green, but translucent, energy. Nope. They were black. And I don't know if they had clothes on. But what I saw, and I've said this publicly, so I'm not, doing some big reveal, but what I saw, very tall, thin, like in shape, thin, not like stick figures, but tall, thin, but they were fuzzy, not furry, not fuzzy like a teddy bear, fuzzy on the outside, like jittery, like out of focus or something.
Okay.
Very, very hard to
focus. It's very hard to focus. Yeah.
But they looked like, I don't know, man. It kind of looked like hairy. I don't know. Just so anyway, but the heads were oval, very tall, oval. Eyes, mouth, nose, ears that I could see. My memory of it was not frightening. I was totally cool with it. It was weird. I did not go, oh shit. I didn't do any of that. I just, and it was like I knew who they were. Yeah, it was weird, man. Like I was hanging out with some friends. And it was trippy.
Wow. Yeah.
It was trippy. And so I scanned the room. And the reason why I know the facial features, the two dudes there, everybody was sitting, but there were two in the middle of the room that were standing, talking to each other. They were facing each other. One guy had his back to me, and the other guy was facing me, but they were together. Here, let me straighten out the camera. They were like this to me, right? They were slightly, but they were talking to each other, and they had something in their hands. They were like pointing at something. And so that's what was going on. Anyway, the guy with his back to me, he goes like this. This is what he does. He goes just like that. Just like that. Just like that. It was. And
Acknowledge
I was totally cool. Yeah,
he,
yeah.
he acknowledged you. He acknowledged you. Yeah. Okay.
He didn't give. It was one of those things. If you walked in to an office that you worked at, right, and somebody in the middle of the room just turns and sees you and gives you one of those and then goes back to the conversation, you're not going to freak out.
No.
And neither did I.
Yeah.
It was like that. It was very, I did not trip. Anyway, so when he turned his head, I could see, I could see his eye, and the guy that was facing him, I could see. And so the face was black, but I could see, man, I don't want to, my memory says they had like blue eyes. Blue. That's what I feel.
Yeah.
But I could see the red when they talked. I could see like the inside of the, it was weird. I don't know if I saw teeth, but everything just, it seemed like it was all quick. Nothing took me by surprise. So I thought that all the facial features were there. Nose, ear, it wasn't like I went, oh, whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
Dude, you look strange. I didn't feel that. I didn't get any of that. And then the other, and I want to throw this, I'm giving you this information because I want to know if you heard anything like this in your groups. I heard this. Oh, hold on. I'm pointing. I heard this guy here that was sitting, right? He's like, and he's like talking into something like a radio, a microphone. I'm saying these things because I don't have another way to kind of put it, but he's having a conversation, and the conversation was like Californian street talk.
Oh, really?
Well, no, it wasn't like, hey, dude. No, it wasn't like that. But it surfs up at Seal Beach, dude.
Right.
Dude. No, it wasn't. I don't mean it like that. But what I do mean, it was very natural without an accent. And so, but it was in English. And I heard him say something like, hey, man. Hey, what's going on? Yeah, we're here. Everything cool? Everything's cool. How are you doing?
Did you see their mouths moving, or was this
he was leaning over? I was it was only 5 seconds less, so I just kind of scanned the room, but I heard him talking. And as I looked at these guys over here I could see them side view, I could still hear this guy talking over here. And I scanned, I just kind of looked at the whole room and kind of gave them one of these, and then they turned around and said goodbye, and I was gone. But during that scan of the room is when I heard this. That was the only noise in the room, was this guy talking. And it was like, hey, man, how you doing? We're cool. Everything good with you? Yeah, we're good. Good. Good to see you. It's good to see you too. All right, cool. Boom. I was gone. But I heard that. It was like a very, very like two friends. They knew who each other were. Now, was he talking to 29 Palms Marines? I don't know. I don't know who he was talking to, but it seemed like he was talking to somebody on the ground. I don't know anything as fact. It was very unoffensive.
Well, you've talked about the fact that anybody else has had similar situations. Well, yeah, there's been a number of cases where people have described these entities as being dark. Okay, shadow people, very much shadow people. Not often they don't describe the eyes as you have, but I've had cases where people talk about these entities. Matter of fact, one of the people in my book, The Unknown Other and the Existential Proposition of Alien Contact, her name is Stacy. She was a nurse practitioner, and she happened to be telepathic, clairvoyant, a channeler, and so she was working in this critical care area, and this person walked in, 6 foot tall male, and she telepathically heard him say, "I'm here for your help," and 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 she said, "Well, logically, yes, I'm a nurse. I'm here. I'm here to help people and things like that." And but she was able to see that this person wasn't who she was seeing on the outside. There was another person in this person, um, that turned out to be a lot smaller than this guy. Happened to be like 6 foot tall. She said it was like 5 foot tall. It was more bird-like. It had feathers on the side of its head, and it had incredibly blue eyes, sunken in with a facial area over here that was projecting. The eyebrow area was projecting, and like a beak, and and all he wanted for her to do was to hold his hand, and and then she says, "Well, okay, I'm going to go get the doctor." The doctor comes in. It's in there for a few moments, goes out of the room, and she says, "So what's going on?" And he said that the guy said he's fine, and he left. You mean you didn't prescribe anything? Nothing? No. She had two other people show up that same day with the same kind of features. She couldn't tell if they were male or female, but she kind of felt that they were more male than female, but presented outwardly a certain look, more natural to you and I. But she was able to see, because of her perception, her capability to perceive this kind of thing, that these were entities that were coming to her for assistance. And all she needed to do was to touch them. I mean, they talk about incredible stories, but the blue eyes, that's what triggered me on talking to you about this particular case. Was she said they were vividly blue eyes.
Yeah, I've had a few people, more than a few, suggest to me that I was seeing, some kind of shadow entity. No,
Mhm,
no. It was
mhm,
definitely physical. It was nothing. It, it wasn't like everybody was lit up, and it was all
mhm,
vivid. It wasn't like
mhm.
that. The room
Right.
was dark, um, but not black dark. I don't mean it
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it wasn't like all lit up.
Right.
And I'm sure I looked just as dark to them too as well. If you know what I mean, because the
Mhm,
room wasn't lit up, but they were definitely solid. There was nothing. No, this was the I maybe they had black clothes on. I don't know, but the room was dark. But definitely the head, the shoulder, the hands. I saw them holding, right. So this is all
mhm,
black.
mhm,
This is just like not dark black, like Vanta black.
mm.
Yeah, crazy. It was crazy. But yet all of these details were here.
Yeah.
I could see it.
Mm,
Yeah, it was crazy. Oval again, like an egg,
mm.
shaped like an
And
egg.
the eyes were like normal eyes, like you and I,
Normal,
or
normal, normal
yeah,
eyes. Yeah,
yeah, interesting. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And normally, I mean, I remember, I remember Slender Man. Right, I remember Slender Man, and what was going on with that. And I was listening to Creepy Pasta, and I was listening to all the Slender Man stories that I could, and I was watching the Slender Man videos. Slender Man scared the crap out of me, and I love getting scared. We all do, right? This wasn't that. I didn't at all trip like no. It was very strange. And here's the other part about it. I would do it again, right? I'm okay with that. You mentioned that earlier, right? To
Mhm,
have the experience continue. Maybe it has. I don't know. But there was something familiar to me and something familiar to them. There was no freaking out. There was no
mm,
freaking out. it stopped short of, yo, church, what's up? It stopped short of that. It was like that. It was, yeah. Yeah, it was weird. It was very, and here's the other thing, Les, if I hadn't have done the session, I would have never had this exposed to me. I would have never known about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting, isn't it? Isn't it interesting? I mean, how you can open up certain parts of your mind in certain ways that you would never be able to do otherwise. And then it comes forward and it's like, holy mackerel, what the hell just happened? And this is, like I say, another reality that we just do not understand. That is here. It's been with us forever, since we've been on this planet.
You know what's strange? You're a professional. You got a professional background. I am too. And I live a very normal existence. Well, as normal as anybody could be that does what I do for a job. But realistically speaking, man, I do my own laundry. I shop.
Mhm.
I go out. I hang out. I do my thing. I just rode to the Kern River with 25 other Harley riders and went in and had lunch and sat down with everybody and just, everything. And
Oh.
then I'm talking about being on spaceships for my job. It's just like, I can't express. I'm just normal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just normal. I got
Sure.
this
Sure.
crazy thing going on, but the rest of my life is absolutely normal, except for
Yep.
my haunted house. My house is completely haunted. You know what I said to myself today, Les? I swear to God. You know what I said? I saw this light flash, and it reflected off of some books that were on my coffee table. And I looked, and so I spun my leg around on the couch, and I waved it in front of the window, trying to make
Same thing happened.
right, and it didn't. And I spun around and I went back to what I was reading, and I said, "Man, I'm tired of this shit. I'm just tired. My God, I don't need to." And but other than that, I just live just this normal existence. Everything's
Yeah.
normal. Just as normal as anybody else.
Well, I think, you talk about poltergeist activity, being living in a haunted house. My brother and his wife had one hell of an experience. They refurbished this 1700s house in Griswold, Connecticut, and one night she came home with bags of groceries in her hand, and there was a side room. And there was a big wingback chair in the room, and there was a TV in there, and normal stuff. And so she came up to the door and yelled out to my brother and said, "Mark, open the door. My hands are full." And he didn't move, and nothing happened. And she yelled again, and nothing happened. So finally, she got upset. She put the groceries down, opened up the door, walked in, and she was going to give him hell. And of course, it wasn't him sitting in the chair; it was this ghost sitting in the chair, and it scared the crap out of her. But there was two ghosts that lived in the house. There was a male and a female, and every time the female would show up, you would smell jasmine. And one night I had to sleep in a room where they used to hear footsteps in this room. I swear, I did not sleep very well that night, and I kept my arms and my legs all up underneath the covers. But it's real. That stuff happens. And so if that kind of thing happens, okay, anything is possible.
That's right.
Anything is possible.
That's exactly it. There is probably such a basic fundamental of the causality, some basic thing that ties all of this together. Just some little thing that we haven't quite figured out yet. But when we do, all of it, right? Ghosts, life after death, paranormal consciousness, this, that, alter, but all of this, E.T., what you see in the sky, the things, it's cloaking. Those are the words that we use today because we don't have another way to describe it. But
Right.
what if it's just all the same thing?
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
something we haven't figured out.
It's all connected. It's all connected. That's what I believe. I believe it's all connected, that all these phenomena in some way, shape, or form are connected. And it's part of a puzzle. It's part of a big puzzle that we still don't understand yet. But we're putting the pieces together slowly but surely. And I think, with our understanding of physics now that's coming along, whether it's quantum theory or string theory or whatever theory you want to talk about, it's starting to, congeal a little bit more than we've ever been before. And so it's fascinating time to live, Jimmy. We're living in an incredible time.
The other part of this, though, I had Lawrence Krauss on the show last week, and he said this. I'm going to paraphrase, but he goes, Jimmy, in the past you had things like ghosts and leprechauns and trolls, and then I said, man, are you listening to what you're saying? Just listen to what you are saying. It's been around forever. This isn't a modern phenomenon. And folklore or mythology or witness accounts and the way they described things in the past, they didn't have another. So maybe ETs were called leprechauns because we didn't have another word for it. There are ghost stories from Greece, in BC era, that are the exact same. It's the movie Poltergeist, but was written in 300 BC. The same thing. There's an old. It's a crazy story. It's 300 BC, and the storyteller says this. So, this is like a true account. I bought a new house from my realtor, and again, this is pretty much how it's written, right? They had real estate agents when he bought a house, right? Some things don't change. Mortgage rates had gone down, and so he bought the house. Anyway, so he says, and as soon as I move into the house, I heard chains rattling in the yard. And I went out, and so going on to describe this ghost and this entity that was hanging out at the house, it turned out it was the previous owner. And this is 2,300 years ago. It's been going on forever.
Oh, absolutely. And we've dealt with demonic possession. We've had exorcisms that have been done. So there's good, there's evil, there's all the above. I mean, it's happening, and we've dealt with a lot of these types of things that have come across our website, and we try to help these people as well. But there's all kinds of aspects to this thing, and that's what I say. Number one thing are the grays. Okay, that seems to be the top of the thing. The second thing are interdimensionals. That seems to be very popular. Orbs, okay, and poltergeist. Poltergeist activity is very prevalent with all of these kind of things as well.
Why? We've got 4 minutes left.
Sure.
Why do abductions occur?
I think that this is something that has been with us forever. Okay, it's a process. It's a process that's going on. It's a process. It's a journey. It's a spiritual journey that people are involved in, and it's a recognition that there is something beyond this reality. Okay, that interfaces with us, and so yeah, sure. Are these entities coming here because they're in trouble and they need our DNA, they need our blood, they need our sperm, our eggs, things of that nature? Yeah, that's probably going on as well. But it's not one thing, it's multiple things. And that's why it's so hard to just say it's this and nothing else. It's multiple things that are going on at the same time. The hybrid process where why are they doing that kind of thing? Well, is it they want to integrate uh, and basically take over? All right, if they're successful in hybridizing all of us, okay, you and I may be hybrids too. Who knows? And there's a lot of theories about when our genes were manipulated, our DNA was manipulated, if it was manipulated. But Gary Nolan talks about the fact that uh, geologists say our planet is 4.5 billion years old, but in order for us to be where we are, the planet should be 9 billion years old. And so there's all kinds of theories that are floating around that saying, wait a minute, something happened to us as to, and that's why we are where we are right now.
This is where I go back to science. Now, you say 4.5 billion years. Okay, well, the planet has been habitable for about 2 billion years. And, once the molten lava settled down and all that stuff, and then the atmosphere and things had to settle in. Okay. But when you really look at this, Homo sapiens sapien has only been here at most for 200,000 years. And 200,000 years ago, we just appeared. Boop. No evolution, right? This perfect forehead, right? The physique, no hair, the layers of fat that we have under our skin. Nothing matches the rest of the planet. Nothing else in any other species. The beauty, our jaw, this thing, compare us to Neanderthal or Cro-Magnon. That's two different things.
By the way, Jimmy, I must be more advanced than you because I have less hair.
You're smarter. That means your brain is more active, and the electromagnetic radiation
is that what it is?
The hair on your head. Yeah.
Okay.
I have less brain activity, so therefore more hair. But I'm being very serious, Les. We just appeared. Talk about no time for evolution. Mm-hmm. The missing link. There is no missing link. We just appeared. Well, when you look at Zecharia Sitchin's work and some of the research that has gone into that, all points back to this same timetable of about 200,000 years ago. Well, that explains a lot. Science supports the woo in this case, that there may have been some alien CRISPR snip action on our DNA 200,000 years ago. And I'm okay with that. It answers the question, right? Where's the missing link? Well, there isn't one. There was just right? I'm okay with that.
Sure. Absolutely. I agree. I believe that there's been manipulation. There's no question about it.
Les, thank you so much, my friend. Great to have you back on the show. Where can everybody chase down your work and get a hold of Opus?
Yeah, absolutely. Just go to our website, opusnetwork.org. It'll give you the whole rundown. If you need some help, you can hit the support button there, and we'll get back to you within 72 hours. We can put you into an online support group, confidential online support group, or we can refer you to mental health practitioners or hypnotherapists if that's what you're looking for. And I got a book on Amazon called The Unknown Other and the Existential Proposition of Alien Contact, which talks about the physical, psychological, and a lot of other interesting stories from some of the people in the support group. So I think you really enjoy it. And thank you, Jimmy. I really appreciate being with you. You're always a lot of fun, and love you, man. And thank you for what you do.
Love you right back, Les. Thank you so much. Thank you from the community for all of your work over the years, man. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Les Velez, everybody. And we do have Les's links below in the description over on our website and throughout social media. If you need to reach out, Opus is right there for you. All right. Great conversation. Thank you so much, Les. And I want to remind everybody what I am doing tomorrow night, which is, tomorrow night, Trey Hudson is here. And he's got a new documentary out. It is called The Helm and the Lens. Also, the documentary is now out for the Meta Project. So tomorrow night, we'll be talking about all of that and much more with Trey Hudson. Until then, I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Go back, Lee Tappy. Fade to Black is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee Newman, and Michelle Freed. Special thanks to Bill, John, Dex, Jessica, Dennis, and Kevin. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music by Doug Aldrich. Intro, Space Boy. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2024 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Go back, Lee Tappy.